got two emails today from the embassy in Zanzibar, and it said the investigation is still ongoing. That they have not determined the cause of death yet at all, and the investigation is still ongoing and still pending right now. So there has nothing official has been released. That's what we're trying to find out. We just want answers.
Joe McCann might literally be on a plane back to Miami within the next few days. Like, while we're sitting here right now, the man who was the last person with Ashlee Jenae before she ended up in a closet with a belt around her neck is being told by Tanzanian authorities that there's no basis for criminal charges. None. They're holding his passport, they're calling him a witness, and that's it. Her autopsy was completed back on April 14, and her parents haven't seen the results. They had to find out their daughter died from the hotel, not from the man she got engaged 2 days earlier. So while the family is begging the U.S. government to step in, while her dad is flying to Washington to make anybody care, Joe is reportedly days away from walking. And I need everyone to sit with that for a second because none of this adds up. Let me back up though, because to understand why this case is collapsing or being allowed to collapse, depending on who you ask, you have to understand what actually happened at this resort. So Ashlee Robinson, who most of you know as Ashlee Jenae, 31 years old, lifestyle influencer with over 130,000 followers on Instagram, flew to Zanzibar with her fiancé Joe McCann on April 4. And Joe, for context, is not some random boyfriend. He's 45, Miami-based crypto entrepreneur, former Microsoft, runs his own firm called Asymmetric, wealthy guy, connected guy. The trip itself was supposed to be a birthday celebration. He had proposed to her on a safari just days before they checked into the Zuri Zanzibar resort. So in theory, this was the high point of her entire year. Engaged, traveling, posting that final Instagram caption on April 5, chapter 31, and I'm exactly where I need to be. That post is still up. Go look at it. It's haunting now in a way I can't even describe.
She was happy. This is what she wanted. She was starting the next chapter of her life.
Robinson sharing the moment McCann popped the question with her more than 100,000 followers.
She FaceTimed me, showed me her ring. She's like, Papa, I'm happy.
But here's where the resort version of events stops matching the influencer version, because hotel staff are now saying that from the moment they arrived on April 4 until April 8, the couple quarreled frequently. Frequently. That's a word that gets used a lot in early reporting, and I think people kind of skim past it. But think about what that actually means. This is staff at a luxury resort in Tanzania who deal with couples on vacation all day, every day. And they noticed enough fighting between these two specific people to flag it later in their statements to police, per CBS News. Not one bad night, not a misunderstanding. Frequent enough that on April 8th, hotel management actually intervened and separated them, moved Joe to a different villa about 10 minutes away from where Ashlee was staying.
Police Chief Benedict Mapujira told the BBC that the couple are reported to have had a disagreement, prompting hotel management to place them in separate rooms. But in a statement to the BBC, the hotel did not confirm the details of the case as given by police. The hotel said it was cooperating with authorities and the U.S. Embassy, but declined to comment further.
And here's the part I think people aren't paying enough attention to. On the morning of April 8, the same day, hours before the timeline gets dark, Joe posted on X about being an AI success story, just casually flexing on Twitter while, according to him, his fiancée was hours away from being found unresponsive in a closet. Now, we don't know the exact gap between the tweet and the incident, but the replies under that post are absolutely brutal right now. People dragging him into the dirt, because how the hell do you sit there talking about your portfolio and your wins on the same morning your soon-to-be wife is allegedly so distressed that she'd hurt herself in a hotel room a few hours later? Either you didn't notice she was in crisis, which, big problem if you didn't, or something else entirely was happening in that villa. Either way, it's not a good look. It's not even close to a good look.
Quite literally having agents write code for our software itself, as an example. That orchestration piece is super, super interesting to me as an investor because there's precedence here. If you go to AWS in 2006, when they launched with one service, S3, simple storage solution. Then they added Elastic Compute, EC2. And then they added however many other services they have.
So the hotel separates them. Joe's in his own villa, 10 minutes away. And then, just a few hours later, a hotel worker walks into Ashlee's room and finds her unresponsive, belt around her neck, inside a closet. CBS News reported all of this. These aren't TMZ-only details. She gets rushed to the hospital. The cause of death later listed by WPVI as cerebral hypoxia from asphyxiation. She holds on until April 10, then dies.
According to the hospital's medical report, Ashlee had an unidentified mark around her neck. They wrote, according to her husband, he found she hung herself on the door with several question marks.
Sometime Jill went back to the room with security, and that's how they found her.
Ashlee was also taken to a second hospital who listed her cause of death as cerebral hypoxia by strangulation and suffocation.
And this is where you'd expect the fiancé, the man who supposedly just lost the love of his life, to be calling everyone. Calling her parents, calling her friends, screaming, panicking, falling apart, right? That's what a person does. But Joe waited 11 hours to call Ashlee's mom, Yolanda Endres. 11 hours. And when he finally did call, he told her Ashlee was stable, while she was actively fighting for her life in a Tanzanian hospital from oxygen deprivation to her brain. 11 hours of silence and then a lie.
I think it's very odd that our daughter is traveling with Joe and we don't hear anything from Joe. To me, that's very odd. And initial call that she got from Joe was 11 hours after something had transpired in the room. And that's very odd. 11 hours later,
11 hours.
Something had transpired, and Joe just relayed to Yolanda that Ashlee was okay and she was stable and she was okay and don't worry about it.
But that she was at the hospital.
Yes. 11 hours later.
Because she wasn't stable. She was on her way out. And the family says that after that one call, Joe basically went dark. They didn't hear from him again. They found out Ashlee had actually passed away from the hotel. The hotel had to tell her own mother that her daughter was gone because the man Ashlee was engaged to couldn't be bothered to pick up a phone. And honestly, that detail alone is the one I keep coming back to. Because grief makes people do weird stuff, sure, fine. But ghosting your dead fiance's family while her body is still warm? That's not grief. That's something else. I don't know what to call that, but it's not grief. The mom, Yolanda, has been doing on-camera interviews with TMZ since this happened, and she has been crystal clear that the family completely rejects the official ruling. Tanzanian authorities have classified this as Ashlee unaliving herself. The family says absolutely not. Yolanda described her daughter as a beacon of light. No history of anything like this. No warning signs. No depression spirals. Nothing.
They were in a gorgeous place in Africa and happy. Everything that we knew was that she was supposed to be happy, and she was engaged. She celebrated her birthday thereafter, and then she's just gone. We're confused about how that could change so drastically.
And the family is now actively trying to get their hands on the hotel surveillance footage from that day, which, let's be real, should have been the first thing investigators secured. We don't know if they did. We just know the family is having to fight for it. Now, here is where I have to be careful, and I want you to be careful too, because there's a Tanzanian YouTube channel running with claims that a doctor said Joe unalived Ashlee and then staged it to look self-inflicted, and that 10 people had been arrested. That is not verified. The question that channel is raising, though, did Joe unalive her, is the question every single person watching this case is asking. And I think it's a fair question to ask out loud, especially given everything we just walked through. What we do have confirmed is what North Unguja Regional Police Commander Benedict Mapujira said publicly, per Complex and Yahoo. He said they cannot take legal action or detain Joe under the current circumstances. They've ruled it self-inflicted. They've kept his passport. Sure, they're questioning him as a witness, but there is no path to charges right now, and that is verbatim from law enforcement. So when competitor channels started running urgent videos on April 24 saying Joe could be days away from walking free, they weren't being dramatic, that's the actual situation. That's where we are. And I want to talk about why this might be happening, because the wealth gap and the international jurisdiction angle is being underplayed in a lot of the coverage. This is a 45-year-old American crypto CEO with significant resources being investigated by a regional police force in Tanzania for the death of an American citizen on Tanzanian soil. The U.S. has limited reach here. The family knows it, which is exactly why Harry Robinson, Ashlee's dad, flew to D.C. to try to apply pressure on the federal level.
Police say she died the following day, Friday the 10th. A local news report indicates police believe she died by Ashlee's father, Harry, tells TMZ that that was the early narrative from police, but stresses the family is now involved and the investigation is ongoing. He adds they've been in contact with the embassy and funeral director, and as of now, there is no official ruling on her cause of death.
Because if they don't get the State Department or the FBI involved fast, this case is going to disappear into a foreign jurisdiction with an official ruling that already favors the man being questioned. And once Joe is back on U.S. soil with his money, his lawyers, and an official Tanzanian ruling backing him, good luck reopening anything. That window slams shut the second his plane takes off. The autopsy was completed April 14. The family still hasn't seen the results as of the most recent TMZ reporting around April 16. The body still hasn't been released. So her parents can't even bury her. They can't have a service. They can't grieve in any normal way because the country holding her remains is the same country telling them there's nothing to investigate. And meanwhile, the man at the center of all of this is staying somewhere in Zanzibar, presumably comfortable, presumably waiting for his passport back, presumably planning his exit. Try to imagine being her mother right now. I genuinely can't. So where does this leave us? Right now, today, this is the situation. Ashlee Jenae is gone. The cause was cerebral hypoxia from asphyxiation. She was found in a closet with a belt around her neck a few hours after hotel management separated her from the man she was about to marry because they'd been fighting nonstop for 4 days. That man waited 11 hours to call her mother and then lied about her condition, then stopped responding entirely. Tanzanian authorities have ruled it self-inflicted. They are not pursuing charges. He could be on a plane home this week. Her body is still in Tanzania. Her autopsy results are sealed from her family. And the only thing standing between Joe McCann walking away clean and an actual investigation is the U.S. government deciding to care. That's the case. That's where we are. Not where we should be, but where we are. Stay tuned because this one is moving fast, and the next 72 hours might be the entire ball game.